Way.
All right, thank you, Ross. Good to see everybody. This is always a fun time of year. Busy time of year for everybody. And for me, it's I was thinking about it this morning. This is my 37th college football season, and this is some of y'all probably aren't even 37 in this room, but it's my 37th college football season, my 24th at Clemson, and my 18th as the head coach full time. So, man, time flies. That's all I can say. Time flies when you love what you do, you love where you do it, and you love who you do it with. Time just seems to just fly right on by, and many seasons they just keep going. But this is something I always look forward to. It's a busy time of year for us. We're in really full staff mode, coming off of some break time, and we start our all-in meetings tomorrow as a staff. That's between now and next week. That's about 5 days, and then this is we got, obviously we'll go up to Charlotte. We got media day there. We got our ladies clinic this weekend. This is the time of year we get a chance to get out on the field with the guys a little bit. Non-competitive stuff, but able to with the change of the rules a few years ago, being able to get out and take a little bit of the strength conditioning time and put it into some on the field time, from a ball standpoint. So we do a little bit of that over these next few weeks, and then it'll be go time. So August the 4th, our guys will come in. We'll have a couple days of orientation, administrative type of stuff, and then we'll be on the field on the 6th. So a lot to do, and ready to go do it. Big picture wise, from a team standpoint, our roster's in a good spot. We all the guys that we expect to be there, are all trending in a good direction. As far as camp, being ready to go in camp. Obviously, y'all all know about Heaven, his situation. Just an update on him. He's doing great. I think he's had four rounds of chemo at this point, and is responding well and doing well. So that's going in a good direction. He's been very engaged and just around every day, and so it's been good to see him and got a smile on his face. I think he'll be at the ladies clinic. He'll have a different perspective at the ladies clinic this weekend for sure. And then Courtney Kelly was kind of probably the other big one coming out of spring. He's trending in a great direction. Anticipate definitely getting him back at some point. Probably not a guy that'll be full go in camp, but he's heading into a good spot too. And we do think unless there's some type of setback, he's got a better than great chance to be back at some point. So that's good news for him. Outside of that, just some guys that had some few things to clean up post spring or whatever. I think all those guys are in a good place, heading into camp. So we'll hope that'll continue as we finish up. Again, we do have a couple more weeks of training before we get to it, but summer school's been good. From an academic standpoint, guys are in the summer too now. So everybody's just kind of ready to get back out on the field and kick off this new season. A lot of fun to look forward to, and a lot of work to do, and that's all we're focused on, is just doing the work.
Coach, you told us after the spring game that Chris Denson would have a decision to make. Apparently he's made that decision. How did that kind of transpire?
I don't know if he's made a full decision. He's been working a little bit of, I think he's worked some receiver, he's worked a little running back. He actually is a guy that kind of tweaked his hamstring a little bit, the other day. So hopefully he's, won't be too limited. But he's gonna. We'll figure it out. He's open to figuring it out. We just haven't been on the field with him, to really truly give you any type of evaluation, because he's been working. He's been working, multiple things in this off season. So we'll see and know more as we go through.
Coach, Joey Batson was such a fixture in the weight room over the years, but it seems like the early returns on D-Love are pretty positive so far.
Oh yeah, guys love D-Love. So he's Yeah, even when he wasn't here, he was kind of a sought out guy by our players for years. You know, even when he was with the Broncos and with Purdue, guys would go and train with D-Love. He's always had guys that kind of gravitated to him for a long time. Joey loved it and leaned on him. One of the reasons we brought him back, and one of the reasons that we made the decision that we did when we did, because otherwise he'd be the guy for the Minnesota Vikings right now. So we're thankful we got him. This is where he wants to be. You know, he's a Clemson guy. He loves this place, and he aligns with everything we're about as a program. Unbelievable mentor in Joey Batson, but D-Love is his own guy, and he's got a ton of great experience. But the biggest thing is he really connects with these guys, and he's tough. So it's been a tough summer, for these guys. You only get one first summer, and I think he's taken full advantage of it and setting the tone on the way he wants things done in the weight room and with the staff and the players and all that. The guys have responded to it, so I think they've gotten better throughout the summer from where they were in the spring. Guys have made good improvement. I look forward to. That's always one of my favorite parts of our meetings. We'll get into that next week. When he'll come in, he'll give us a full report on kind of where everybody is individually on the team and what he feels like. So that'll be kind of his first time leading that. So I look forward to that.
What was your reaction to hearing Tristan Smith got his extra year of eligibility?
Just super
talking
happy.
with him
Just
about
happy
that.
for him. Just super happy for him, and that's been a lot of stress for him and his mom too. So just thankful that it went his way, and he's going to get an opportunity to keep playing. He was going to be here either way, and we had a good plan in place, to keep training him. He'd be a student coach, because he still needs to graduate. So he still would have been able to, get out there and run around and do stuff, and we just kind of develop him. But I mean, this is just a game changer for him to be able to, continue to play and put some film on, on tape, and put some, good play on tape. I'm really happy for him. It certainly doesn't hurt the room, that's for sure. That's a really good room that got better.
Coach, how has it been to be able to have Chad back and just have that familiarity?
That's been great. I mean, just in a lot of ways feels like he never left. It's kind of weird how you can have relationships with people like that for a long time, and then maybe you go apart and then boom, you're back together. Coach McCorvey and I. Coach McCorvey and I met in 1990. He was my coach for 3 years, and then I was the GA for him. Then I was his receiver coach. He was the coordinator, and then we kind of separated in '98, and then so '98, and then I brought him back here in '09. But it same thing. It was at 11 years or so. All of a sudden, you get back together. It's like you've never been apart. And I'd say it's very similar. Chad and I have always stayed connected. We're friends, not just colleagues. We're friends, and so it's been really good. We just speak the same language, and we believe in the same things. And, he's an energetic guy, like myself, and really aligns with everything that we're about here at Clemson. And so it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. Watching him just roll his sleeves up and get down in the fire with the guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Coach Taj Boyd is someone else that you brought back into the program. He mentioned today that in 2021 he had no desire to get into coaching. What led you to reach out to him, and how have you seen him evolve since to where you've promoted him?
Yeah, maybe a lot of the same reasons that Gene Stallings wanted me to get into coaching. I think as a coach, sometimes you see things in people they don't see even in themselves. And sometimes it takes, just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself and what you can do or whatever. I've said this many times, to really have never even thought about coaching. And so, but Coach McCorvey and Coach Stallings, you know, they Coach was like, you need a master's degree. And I'm like, I don't want a master's degree, and I got to go to work. And you know, but I was scared of it, still am. And so he's like, you need a master's degree. Now, what do you understand about that? And so next thing I know, I'm getting my master's degree, and you know, because it was a lot easier for me to call a guy I'd taken the job with in Birmingham and tell him I wasn't coming than it was to go tell Coach Stallings that I wasn't gonna get my master's. And so, and crazy other story about that, just off topic. But when I got my master's degree, he calls me in to hire me full time. Now I've done a GA, I've got my MBA, I'm done. He's like, well, you need a PhD. I'm like, we had this whole discussion in his office, and he's offering me, he's hiring 26. He's hiring me to be the receiver tight ends coach. And then I thought, I'm not going to get this job. I'm not taking this job if I got to get my PhD. I'm done with school. But anyway, he saw things in me, and I'd say the same thing. Tosh Boyd is a winner. Tosh Boyd is a leader. He's charismatic. He's a communicator. He loves the game. He was obviously a great player, but he was a great teammate. And you know, I mean, you have relationships with these guys, and I just felt like. Honestly, I felt like I told him, I said, you know, I felt like he was mad at football. You know, you know, I mean, you know, that's what I said. And I'm like, why are you mad at football? I said, everybody in the whole United States knows who you are because of football. Now, why are you mad about that? I mean, you got drafted. You know, things didn't go according to the script, but God's plan's always different. And I just felt like that he would be someone great to just be around Clemson, and you know, I didn't know where it would go, and I just, you know, we had a player development spot or something at that time. It's been a while ago. It's been here several years, but and he wasn't sure. I said, just maybe come and let's just get you back in the program, get you around the guys. You just, you know, and then it's been fun for me to watch that transformation. To go from a guy that I don't know to now, I mean, his whole perspective is different, and to see him as a husband and a father, and what a great leader and what a great teacher. To see him, you know, he's sending me all this meeting prep and all this stuff and all these, you know, he's just a full-blown junkie now, football junkie. I mean, he's just completely, you know, bought into being a great coach. And it's just been, and then you couple the fact that, you know, ironically, I had him interview Chad Morris with me when I hired Chad. You know, people don't know that, but I had this young quarterback, Tosh Boyd, who, you know, I didn't want to start over with, and he was barely ready to play, barely, and I didn't want to start over, and that was one of the reasons, like, you know, when I hired Chad, I accused him. I said, somebody gave you the Cliff Notes. Somebody, I don't know who it is, but somebody, because we spoke the same language, most of our terminology was similar. You know, there was just, he just had a few answers that I didn't have. And we'd eventually gotten there, but I didn't have time to eventually get there. I had like one more season. That was it. And so he had some answers that I knew right away would make us better. But I wanted Taj to be a part of that process. And so he sat in, the two guys I brought in, he sat in those interviews, and there was instant synergy, instant connection between the two of them, and it's really fun now. Fast forward, you know, we're just all grown up, and it's just fun to see them all, you know, working together, and there's just great alignment with those guys, and they have. Obviously, Chad has been a quarterback guy forever. Has coached quarterbacks a long time, but you know, he loves Taj, and I mean that was we all kind of got it going, you know, in 11, and you know we wasn't a perfect year, but we won 10. We won the league for the first time in a long time, and you know didn't finish well that year, but made it to the Orange Bowl for the first time in a gajillion years. So it was a good start, and so in a lot of ways it's just kind of full circle, and you know, but that's why I reached out to Taj, because I just saw a great leader. He's a great leader. CUTigers gonna be a head coach. He'll be a head coach, ain't no doubt. He's got all the tools. I mean, he's got everything you need to be a great head football coach, and he's really equipping himself, through his journey.
Tosh said his house was egged after that Georgia Tech game in 11. Did he ever tell you that story?
Oh yeah, I remember that very well. Yeah, it was a rough night. That was, his mom wasn't happy, his dad wasn't happy. That was, what are you gonna do? So you just gotta keep moving, and we did. But kind of stumbled down at the end of that season there, but rallied and had a big win in the championship game against Virginia Tech, and I think we had like 5,000 people at the West End Zone when we got home that night. It was a really cool thing. That was a great kind of laying of a foundation, and we built on that for years. And obviously Chad was here for 4, and Taj had a good 12, and got back to the Orange Bowl in 13 and won it in the BCS era. That was a great way for him to finish. Good to kind of see everybody in different roles now. But the one thing those guys got in common, they love Clemson, and that matters around here.
Speaking of football junkies, I was talking to Freddie Kitchens, and he said that you get to a certain age as a coach, and you realize opportunities are fleeting. And now you've got Freddie and Brad Glenn and Miller, Mike Houston on the defensive side. He said they all like to just kind of get together and talk ball and X's and O's, and he can't wait for the season to begin game planning. What's it like having a staff now that's got so many guys who've been successful, kind of in those rooms, older guys who just like genuinely being around each other and talking ball?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it always comes back to people. You got to have people that, you got to have good people, and you got people that are aligned, to whatever the core mission is, whatever the purpose is. And when you have that, you got a chance to be successful. And we have that. I mean, I really like our staff, and we've got a good blend, young guys, older guys. Versace coming in here, I mean, he likes to say he's in a state of rage at all times. Kind of like that. Once we get to the season, Versace is in a state of rage. So that's not a bad thing. You're special teams guy. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So we just got, he's been a head coach in the NFL. You don't get lucky and become a head coach in the NFL. Freddie's been a head coach in the NFL. He's been a coordinator in the NFL. He's done a lot. I coached Freddie. Freddie was a part of one of the greatest games I've ever been a part of in '96 when we came back and beat Auburn in Coach Stallings' last game there in Legion Field. So known Freddie since high school when he came out and came through. So I've known him a long time, just like Whammy. I mean, we just got a lot of former head coaches and NFL experience, college experience. Certainly Brad coming in, has been around. He's been a coordinator at many levels for 20 plus years. That just was kind of worked out, this timing and opportunity. You may only have those guys like a year, but it's nice to have them while you got them, and they've just done an awesome job. And I think they love being at Clemson. I think Freddie, I've never worked with Freddie, coached him, but I've never worked with him. And so, he's kind of been on the peripheral. He was in the NFL a long time and then coming around. And so he reached out. I mean, he had a year on his contract. And we like free labor, especially. It's a high qualified guy coming in here. And so it's been good. I mean, we had Lonnie Galloway last year, and now Lonnie is our senior offensive assistant. He went from free guy to a paid guy. So he's kind of runs the room in there. And obviously has a ton of experience to go with it. Mike Houston, who's kind of got another year, in his transition from East Carolina. He's been a head coach. He won everywhere he's been. Brevard, Lenore Ryan, is that where he was? Citadel, James Madison, it's a national championship, East Carolina. He's got a ton of experience, and Tom Allen, obviously. So you got a lot of good people, but we like each other, and I think that's important. gotta have some synergy, and you gotta have some alignment in whatever, again, your core values are, your core mission, and we have that. And again, there's a lot of coaches in this building that they're just happy to be here, because it's giving them a different perspective that they haven't had. Sometimes outside of things you don't really know till you get on the inside and you look at it, and it's a cool place to live, cool place to work. That's why we don't really have a lot of turnover around here.
Coach, how have you seen communication improve over the offseason on the defensive end, and what would you like to kind of see before you get to that first game?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is just the coaches. It starts there. I mean, we did a lot of installation in the spring, made some improvement. There's some new players that have come in that I think have really brought a mature presence there. Obviously with Myrick and Carter coming in, those guys have been great additions to go with some of the mid-year guys. But I think Carico and Nolan and I think Thomas have done a great job. We had too many times last year we just honestly just weren't on the same page. You got to have 11 guys. If you're all wrong, you're all right. But you got to be on the same page, and that's the biggest thing defensively that has to. I mean, it's just that simple. We got to be better on pass defense if we're going to be better. Period. On that side of the ball, we improved in a lot of areas last year, but we really just were just not very good in that area, and it cost us. I mean, a lot of explosive plays, and not necessarily competitive plays, but just some things that from a communication standpoint, we got to do better. And so we've worked really hard, and it is year 2. I think that's important too. It's year 2 of the system. It's been a good summer as far as the guys, doing what they're supposed to do from a player-led standpoint. But now we just got to continue to build on what they did in the spring. But that's it.
Dabo, how do you balance the new year, new slate, looking forward, but also looking back a little bit and seeing the areas that were good, you can improve on, looking at that season? How you got to balance?
Yeah, we're way past all that. That page is turned, man. I mean, it's 26. I mean, that's all off season, self-scout. You study yourself. Your disaster report. What went good? What went bad? What went really bad? Was it why? Was it scheme? Was it player? Was it poor call? Or was it their player? Sometimes I got good players too, believe it or not. So you kind of evaluate all that stuff in the off season. You try to think we've long moved past last year. It's all about this team. We've been rolling since January, and this is for us kind of heading into the third quarter of our journey. It's a 4-quarter journey, and you don't win the game at halftime, but we're kind of entering in what we call the prime time phase of 2026, and now we got to get off to a good start in this phase of it, and that starts with your meetings and your camp, and hopefully you catch a little bit of luck along the way from a health standpoint, then you take it to game day. But it's not really anything to balance at this point. It's all about 26.
Coach, you mentioned the defense being in year 2 of the system now. From the offensive standpoint, does it feel like you're in year 1 with the familiarity aspect?
It doesn't for me. It feels like, picked up right where we left off, from me and Chad's standpoint, and you're very familiar, but definitely for the player, because there's some carryover. I mean, inside zone, power's power, counter's counter, 4 verts is 4 verts, slants are slants, quick games, screens are screens. I mean, but how all that stuff is put together, your formationing, what your verbiage is, what you call it, your motions, how you package it, all of that stuff is different, for this group of players. But for me, it's very familiar.
I think Chad had described the way the quarterbacks were taking in Morris's offense is drinking water from the fire hose. Just what do you want to see from that group now that they've had some time to get their feet wet in the system?
Yeah, just be better than they were when I saw them, last practice. I mean, that's what that's what the summer's all about. I like the room. I felt like that. I mean, we knew where CB was going into it, and we knew what we hoped to see coming out of it, and he didn't back up. He kept going. Did a good job, but we had 4 guys kind of competing for. We needed to figure out who the 2 were. That was so we had kind of a 4-guy competition. And it's really hard to rep 5 quarterbacks or 4 quarterbacks for 2 spots. So that was what I thought was really important to get done in the spring, was to figure out, okay, who's 2? Is there a 2? And going into that last week of spring, it was just obvious that Tate had separated from that group, to where, okay, now we needed clarity. It gave us clarity of, okay, hey, here's the 2 guys that we need to go into the summer with. We need to create some clarity for the team, and because again, you can only rep so many guys, and man, Tate, he got all those 2 reps that last week, and he went just got better. And so it's been a great summer for those guys, and I think for the team, in knowing, okay, hey, here's kind of where we are going into this thing. And then you take a young kid like Brock, obviously Tate physically is just at another level. He looks like he's a 5th-year senior physically. Brock, he got all the stuff. He just got to mature a little bit physically. He's a super talented kid. And y'all all know Trent. I mean, Trent could go out there and never take a rep and just move the team down the field. I mean, he knows how to play. And he knows how to play within his skill set. And he's a guy we trust. He's an incredibly valuable backup for us. So we like our room. I mean, we think we've got, 4 pretty functional guys at the position. That has not always been the case. I've said that many times. I mean, you go back to our national championship in 18, we had Trevor, Chase Bryce. That was it. Your 3rd teamer was Hunter Renfro. Your 4th teamer was Will Spires, the punter. So, and if you look around in today's college football, I think we're young and we're unproven, but I think we've got very competitive, talented guys in the room that are going to get better. And so, to answer your question, I just want to see them better. I want to see them more confident. I want to see them having ready to take the next step from where they were in the spring. In command of, we don't have time. That was my big thing. We don't have time to get into camp and have to worry about which side the back's on and where the motion point is and cadence and all. We ain't got time for that. All the operational stuff, that's what summer's for. And so that's the main thing for me. I want to see complete control operationally, to where now we can focus on what we need to be focused on, and that's our eyes and not distracted by operational stuff that is you have to get through, but we got to be beyond that. And if they are there, then we'll get better through fall camp.
Are these games that run, are you able to turn him loose this fall finally?
Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's full go. He's been, we limited him in the spring, but yeah, he's done everything. I mean, he's run every hill, run every sprint, 40s. He's done everything. That's the one thing I think I really love what D Love has done from a speed development standpoint this summer. He's really put a lot of emphasis on that. He's done a great job. I do think we're a fast team. We're a faster team. Let me say it that way. We're a faster team than we were last year, I think, at every position. And I think that's a good thing. So, we've worked hard on it, and I think quarterback is, Cade can run now. He was a fast dude, but Tate's different, and CB's different, with their size that they bring to being able to run.
You mentioned the imperative of improving on the back end. How can Jerome Carter help you? Maturity, confidence. I'd say the same thing about Myrick, and then just competitiveness. I mean, these are 2 kind of all conference type players coming from where they're coming from, but those guys have they're eager to go prove they can be great at this level. They can be great at Clemson, and so I just think the confidence and the experience that they bring
it's been awesome, and because it's what we lost, and so we needed to replace that. So we lost some experience there, but we were able to go and bring in a bunch of experience, and it's two really mature guys that are, I mean, they just excited to be at Clemson. You know, they're so excited to go and compete, you know, for the Tigers. And then they brought a ton of competition. I mean, golly, Ronan Hannafin, I mean, it's been awesome to watch him. All those guys have taken steps. Noah, I mean, but Corey and Jerome have brought some maturity, some experience, and some leadership at an area we needed.
You've been a proponent of, I guess, the 5-5 rule. Like for a player like Ronan Hannafin getting 5 years after change position, just is definitely instilling that rule. Do you see? I guess do you foresee some freshmen playing more to the North?
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, first of all, a guy like Harris Sewell, Ronan Hannafin, I mean, it's a game changer. Corey, Jerome, those guys could have 3 years left now instead of 2. Elliott Washington could have another year. I mean, it just creates a lot of opportunity for some of these guys. Now, you know, Will Help's got another year, but Will Help, he ain't gonna be back. I can just go and tell y'all right now, I'm gonna try, but he ain't gonna be back. You know, but that's okay. You know, it's a great thing for a kid like Harris Sewell, who played some as a freshman because we just had to, but we really wish you didn't have to. And now guys that have been redshirted already, it doesn't really impact them. But I would say, yes, it's different. In fact, I was talking to Versace about this just recently, because in the past, you know, you'd have to make some decisions on some guys like, hey, this guy's probably going to redshirt, and so you know, you just they're kind of on the shelf. Now they did have an opportunity to maybe get in 4 games at some point, but now that you don't have to deal with that, there may be a kid that maybe he's not ready to play at wideout yet, or maybe he's not ready to play every down linebacker. But man, that sucker can run, and he's strong, and he's physical, and he can cover a kick, and he can, you know, have a role. So you have a little bit more pool of guys to draw from than you have in past years. So it's the first year of that, but you still have the 80-man roster. So you're still kind of confined by that, and that's so a lot of times your special teams. You know, it starts with what your 2 deep is, because you kind of, you know, you're going to play more snaps there. So what's your 2 deep, and you kind of go from there. And then you have, you know, you might have another 10 spots on your roster or something from an 80-man that's going to be special teams decisions. That dictates who's on the bus and who's not. So it's going to be very competitive in fall camp from that standpoint. Very competitive. Because again, in the past, there might be guys pretty quickly that you'd say, yeah, he's probably gonna need a year. Whereas now you've got a little bit more to evaluate, because you don't have to worry about the redshirt stuff.
Speaking of rule changes, I'm not sure I fully understand the punt rule. What are your thoughts on it? Good, bad, and different?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, they're just kind of trying to clean up, you know, some of the numerical stuff that was kind of going on, and you know, I think it's fine. We'll all kind of, you know, probably learn a little bit more as we go. We've got the officials coming in. They're going to kind of go over it with us all, you know, during fall camp. But I mean, I understand why they did it, but you know, we'll kind of see how it goes.
So 5 for 5 kind of slow down guys getting to 4 games, and then they step away if they want to preserve a red shirt.
Yeah, I think that'll clean that up. But not to say that it goes away, because some guys may just say, I don't want to be here, whatever. But I think it does, because you know, now that you're finally in the rev share, it's you know, you get paid monthly. You don't show up at work, you don't get you know, so guys are, last year everything was kind of front loaded, and it's a different deal a year in now, where you know, guys get their rev share stuff monthly, so that's a part of it, you know. So you got to show up. That's where it starts, and then now that, and it's not something that's bad. You understand that with those kids. I mean, like, you know, they want another year, and if they didn't like their situation, or they knew they weren't going to, it was just kind of an unintended consequence to a good thing. It was a good thing that they came out and said you could play 4 games and play the postseason, but then there were some unintended consequences, like anything, to where oh man, I got beat out. I don't like my role. Man, I played as a freshman. I need to save that year. It's another year to make some money. People in your ear, and so now all of a sudden you got kids not playing. Yeah, I think that will drastically change. I'd be surprised if it doesn't, because at the end of the day, these guys want to play, and it's good for them to get, even if they know they're going to leave. It's good for them to get tape and so forth. And then you have the fact that now it's a monthly rev share deal. There's a lot more obviously incentive to play too, but they're going to get 5, so it doesn't matter. And I think that'll be good for everybody.
From an X's and O's standpoint, Matt was talking about, especially for an offensive lineman, that now a freshman lineman can go in there on a, first and goal with the 1 and block and not worry about burning a red shirt.
Yeah.
So the benefits there.
Absolutely. Package stuff. I mean, you may have a young tackle, like you said, that's not quite ready to go and play every down. But that sucker can go in there and it's a goal line play, and he knows he's got, the B gap, period. He can do that, and so it just gives you a lot more freedom. You just don't have to worry about it. It's not something you have to, golly, we've had to be strategic with some guys over the years. Some guys that just didn't matter to play when they want to play, whenever it works out. But some guys we had to be really strategic. We did that with Skowski one year, whatever year that was, and ended up having him. The latter part of the season, it worked out, but now you don't have to worry about it. So everybody's an option, but you still got the 80, on road games.
How much of an unknown is defensive tackle right now?
Say that again.
How much of an unknown is defensive tackle right now?
I'd say a big unknown. I mean, huge unknown. That guy's got a lot to prove. Every one of them. I mean, I think Amari Adams is he's as talented a guy as we've signed. I mean, he is a really special talent, a great kid, and a hard worker. But true freshman last year, and ended up, had to have some surgery. And so I mean, I think he's certainly a high level talent, but he's got to go prove it. You got some guys that's kind of now or never, that's in that group. Like a couple guys that have been around here that they either gonna do it now or probably ain't gonna do it. One of the two. Then you got some guys like Barberia, who I can't wait to see. I hadn't seen him yet, so I can't wait to see him as far as on the field. I think he's going to be a guy. Marcus Strong, same thing. In fact, I was at Austin Bryant's wedding Sunday night. I was talking. Todd Bates was there. Hobby was there. McGill was there. We had a bunch of coaches and former players and a bunch of reunion going on at the wedding, but we were talking about Marcus Strong because he was out of Oklahoma over there. But man, he's eager, and I really like him. That's why we brought him here. But that whole group's got a lot to prove.
In the fall or in the spring, you mentioned challenging Chris Johnson Jr. about his nutrition and all of that. Have you seen him over the summer and since then kind of take on that challenge?
He's been awesome. And I've seen him smile on more than one occasion, and so that's been really, really good. That was one of my goals. Was you're gonna smile. I called Red about it, and Red was like, he's amazing. He just never smiles. And I'm like, you're gonna smile. I'm gonna get him to smile. I told him that too in the recruiting process. Like, you come to Clemson, man. I'm gonna get some smiles out of you. So it's been kind of fun to watch him just fit in, and he's done a good job. Seems happy, and he's got his weight in a good spot. And, he's certainly an explosive player. He's touchdown fast. What I mean by that is whatever you need for the touchdown, he can do it. You need 90, you need 10, you need 70. He can go the distance. So it's nice to know you got a guy like that, roaming around.
Last year, you mentioned changing the calendar, and now this proposal out there, possibly. Your thoughts on that proposal, and is it kind of what you want it to be?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I think it's good. I just think we're at a place in college football where we always try to make it the same, and it's just not the same. It's just not. And it's taken a long time to kind of get to that point. And you know, the calendar is just one of those areas. I mean, our calendar is different from our kids. Last week, April, they're done. And they're rolling into 3 weeks of discretionary time in May. Some people don't get done until middle of May. So calendars are different. Academic calendars are different. Coaches' preferences are different. You know, not everybody coaches the same. So I just think that flexibility is good. They're going to take, sounds like they're going to take, right now we get 25 practices. Probably going to take 4 from that. And so cut it to 21 in fall camp, but we'll have 21 opportunities. Right now we get 15 spring practices, and so they're going to add 6 to that, where you have 21 opportunities. You know, 12 of those can be in pads. We probably would, you know, everybody would be different, you know, on how they want to go about it. I certainly wouldn't do any contact stuff in the summer. I wouldn't want to do that, but I would probably say, you know, traditional kind of spring, but save days, and even like where we are right now, like what we can do on the field today for 30 minutes with our guys, you know, it's non-competitive. It's truly just indie install type of stuff. We can't do any competitive stuff. But with this change, like I could take 4 to 6 days this time of year, and we can get out on the field and have true kind of OTA type practice, helmets, vests, and you know, kind of ramp up into camp. And so I think, you know, everybody will use it differently. If you got a bunch of guys that aren't showing up till late, and maybe in May, you'll probably save some more. If most of your team's there in January, you might do a little bit more. But for us, we would probably kind of have a spring practice of 12 to 15 days or whatever, and then maybe use some latter part of April before they go on their break. And then, you know, first couple weeks of June, we would use a couple, while we're all here in camps and all that type of stuff, we would and other new kids show up, we'd get them, might even have 1 or 2 just for new players, and not even have the vets, you know, just the rookies, if you will, and then save a few days for this kind of ramp up, a couple weeks in the camp. So I think there's a lot of ways to do it. I think it's a good proposal. I don't think it's passed yet, but you know, hopefully it will. I think that'll be a good thing.
Coach, you're one of 5 ACC programs not taking the quarterback to ACC kickoff. Do you think there's too much made of that, or can you go into your thought process on who you do take?
Is there a lot being made of that? I don't even know. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot being made of that or not. First I've heard of it. Breaking news right here. The smart,
just in terms of you
smart
not
family
taking
media.
a quarterback due to the questions that
Yeah,
they use to the rest.
for me, if you just got, I think you got to have context. Like I've always taken our seniors number 1. That's kind of where I start, and then I always they get to pick somebody. Olsen is our senior that we chose, and been a starter for us, and then Help was a senior, and they all wanted Sammy Brown. So it's kind of how it goes. You know, there was a couple other names they threw out there, but yeah, I don't really worry about all that stuff. I don't think about that.
Coach,
Last year we got to take 4 too, and this year we got to take 4. This year they cut to 3.
Coach, what have you noticed about the team chemistry on both sides of the ball?
You know, again, I haven't been on the field with them yet. It's probably a little bit more once we get out there in fall camp, but you know, all the reports have been great. One of the things D. Love said that I really liked was, you know, all he's seen is a bunch of multipliers. He hasn't seen any dividers, and I really like that. So that's probably the best answer I can give you. You know, because he's been with them every single day. You know, they've done what they needed to do, so there hasn't really been any chemistry issues or any of that type of stuff. They're all doing a great job. They all had a big team event last night with Paul Journey. Went to Greenville, and so you know, I think we're in a good spot. But we'll see if we can continue to build that, and that'll be a part of camp as well.
And then do you have anything specific in mind of what you want to accomplish going into the season?
Yeah, I want to win more games. Really simple. That's just get the arrow pointed back where it needs to be. You know, I don't know if we'll get all the way to the top of the mountain, but we need to get it pointed back in that direction. You know, we've been to the top many times around here, and we're going to take Clemson back to the top. That's going to happen. Whether it happens this year, I don't know. But my main objective is to make sure we get the arrow pointed back where it needs to be, and that we're a tougher football team, you know, mentally, and that's been a big focus for us.
The ACC hasn't announced the, I guess, championship game tiebreakers with the uneven schedules for this upcoming season. Just curious, what was your suggestion be for the ACC championship tiebreakers for that?
I got none. I don't care. I just want to win. If we win, that's my tiebreaker. Let's go win. Let's just stay out of. Let's just stay out of having to figure all that stuff out. I don't have enough degrees to process all that. I mean, it's complicated, but man, I just want to focus on winning. That's my thoughts on it.
Doctor would come real handy right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think of kickoff people were, I guess, somewhat surprised maybe Vizina wasn't one of the players that you're taking up there to Charlotte.
Well, he's not a senior, so Olsen was the offensive senior,
right.
that we chose. So, and then so he wasn't on the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of look at who your seniors. And you talk to your coaches. It was Olsen, and then it was help on defense. And then, okay, who do they want? Ross, who do they want? He tells me who they want. And there's, you know, 3 or 4 guys they list, and I'm like, all right, we'll take Sammy. So it's really not complicated. Not anything more than that.
When you were talking about your staff before, you mentioned a couple times that they love Clemson. When you look at the guys who were players here and came back to coach, or your coaches that have been on staff for a long time, what do you hope that your players take away from that in terms of growing where you are, patience, and not just thinking of each year as like a 1-year contract kind of thing?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and funny you bring that up, because as I said, I was at Austin Bryant's wedding Sunday night over in Nashville, and I mean, you got all these Christians there, Dexter's there, Glee's there, all their mamas are there, Kendall Joseph's there, Miguel, you got all these people, and that's actually one of the things that they brought up. Because I mean, for me, you know, you just put yourself in my shoes. Here, these kids, I've known these are kids when I meet them, and they I mean, they're coming to Clemson, but they're coming to play for Coach Swinney. You know, I mean, like they gotta choose you. You don't get to just draft them. They have to choose you. And here's a kid from Massachusetts, Connecticut, Virginia, you know, Pavo, Georgia, North Carolina, and they all come here and they become brothers for life. These are 30-year-old men now, you know, and to me that's what it's, and we were talking about that, man, you really hope that doesn't get lost. You know, that type of brotherhood, because of the, you know, you suffer together, you sacrifice together, you lose together, you win together, you just, man, you pick each other up, like, and we're fortunate. I mean, we really, I mean, not that we haven't been affected, but not anywhere near what a lot of other stuff out there in college football has experienced. And we're fortunate because we were very established here, you know, with a lot of the changes that have come on board. But those guys were literally, Clea and those guys were just talking about that, about, you know, this is what it's all about, and we hope this doesn't get lost. And this guy's at 3 or 4 schools, and they don't have that connectivity. So, you know, I'm fortunate here at Clemson. We haven't had Ashton. We haven't had to deal with a lot of that. You know, we lead the nation in retention for a reason. Not because they have to stay here. They choose to stay here because we've created a lot of value in the people that you're doing football life with. We've created a lot of value in being here, and there's a lot of value in the relationships. But more importantly, they see that. I just walked through the weight room. There's Tyler Davis. There's Will Putnam. There's Jordan McFadden. I mean, these guys are. There's KJ Henry. I mean, these guys they're all in this building, They see that. Our guys witness that all the time in this program. So it's just a very connected place, and but you know I don't think it's that way everywhere, unfortunately.
Coach, a few of your assistant coaches mentioned that when you called them to offer a job, you asked them if they wanted to come home. Kind of going along with what you just said, what does it mean to know that those guys can come home?
I think it's awesome. You know, so I would assume maybe it was Perico or somebody. I don't know who said that. You know, Perico, D-Love, yeah, what I call D-Love. They love this place. I mean, I think that matters at Clemson. I mean, you have to have a good balance of that, and we do. We got, I don't know, 80-something staff people, and I think 28 or so former players, 26, 8. And it just bring invaluable perspective. And you know, Perico was my first commit, the very first one. And then to watch him grow and go through his career and life, and then be able to call him up at Delaware and say, "Hey, man, you know, are you ready?" And that's a great moment for me. I love being able to create those opportunities, you know, for guys that have created opportunity for me and made Clemson better. They got a lot. They bring a lot of passion because they really do love the place. And I think again, like that's. If you love what you do, where you do it, who you do it with, you got a great chance to be successful. And you know, it's not always easy to have that, but we have that.
I know Lindsey Graham has been at practice and
Yeah.
around here. I just didn't know if you wanted to comment on his passing.
Man, I mean, really sad. I mean, he's obviously you know, incredibly influential person from South Carolina that has served this country for a long time. I was from right here, you know, 6 Mile Central, right up the road. And I've got a chance to meet him a few times over the years, you know, at an event, or he would try to usually come by at least one practice a year. He would stop by. I'm sure he probably did the same thing in South Carolina as well. But I mean, he was that was you know, pretty shocking news. But man, also a reminder for everyone, you know, I mean, we're all human, and you know, we're all gonna meet our maker one day, whether you want to or not. So make sure you're ready.
Just while we're eulogizing, you said many times that last season reminded you of 2010. Pretty ironic that Terry Don Phillips would pass away recently.
Yes, yeah, that was obviously really, really sad news. You know, one of the great leaders in my life, one of the great mentors. I'm not here if not for him. I mean, unbelievable toughness, incredible conviction in what he believed. You know, a lot like I would say Coach Stallings, Coach McCorvey, like he saw things in me that maybe others didn't see, or maybe I didn't even see myself. You know, again, you're just kind of just busy doing what you do. That's why I tell people, man, just be great at whatever it is you do. People notice that. But, yeah, for him to give me the opportunity when he did, and then after 10 and winning 6 games, he didn't bat an eye. He didn't even flinch. I mean, he didn't even. He basically said, if it don't work, I'll help you pack, and you can help me pack. That's really literally what he said. And he said, you just keep being you. You just keep being you. I got your back. In fact, he said, I believe in you more now. He said, I believe in you more now than I did when I hired you. It's after winning 6 games, after we just lost to South Carolina. That's who Terry Don Phillips was. That's the type of belief, that's the type of conviction that he had. But that's the type of belief you gotta have to do great things in life. You know, it's not always gonna go your way or be perfect, but you can't let that you know, make you lose sight of what you do believe. And you know, you got to keep going. You keep going. And so, yeah, that was a really you know, sad thing. And